It's time now to check your money with America's money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki, how you doing?
Hey, George, how you doing? You feeling okay?
Yes, I do. Yes, I am.
You sure now? Okay.
Yes, I am. You know what time it is.
I do.
Two things.
What's that?
First of all, it's Gemini season. But secondly,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, the twins are out in full force, and it's my birthday coming up on Thursday, as you know.
I know it's your birthday coming up on Thursday. Okay. And yes, I don't know who it was that put the post into Facebook that said that Geminis are just all over the place now. It's like June is the only month that exists as far as birthdays, okay, or concerned.
We roll deep. We roll strong.
But happy birthday to you. I think we'll probably use you as a subject next week.
Okay.
When we start looking at the fact that you are, I'm going to say it out loud, George, because I know you're proud of it.
Yes.
You are now 62 years old.
Yes.
Which means that we should probably next week talk about the magic in the numbers as far as Social Security numbers are concerned.
Yeah.
And what that really means now that you have crossed one of the thresholds there as far as the Social Security calculations and what should be done, what shouldn't be done. So I'm going to call it the magic and the money of Social Security.
Magic and the money. Okay. All right.
For next week. So everybody kind of gets, what's that, a lead-in or a teaser?
A tease.
Okay,
it's a tease.
A tease, okay, yeah. A tease for next week. But this week, I'm going to go back and sort of pick up one portion of the subject that we talked about last week and tie it to what I would consider to be a pretty big event that took place this week.
All right.
Concerning generational wealth.
Yeah, and I do have a question for you as well.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have in addition to this, I have a question for you about career opportunities in this business. So.
All right. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So let's go with this. First of all, last week I mentioned a quote that I had heard from a Dr. Sunyata Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked me again to spell that. So think of it this way. Sunyata.
Okay.
Sunny, Sunyatta, amen, like amen, A-M-E-N, okay?
Let the church say.
Exactly, all right. But the quote was basically this. When an elder dies, a library burns to the ground.
Yes.
The more I've said that, the deeper and deeper I start to understand exactly how important it is as far as us capturing the information from elders to make sure that we are understanding not only our history, but and our legacy issues relative to family history, the stories associated with that, but also the assets that may be tied to those legacies and to those stories. So I know without a doubt, George, when I come into the fall and we do this class around, which I'm now titling for everyone, so make sure and write this down, Generational Wealth, the Real Deal.
The Real Deal.
That's what it's going to be about, generational wealth, the real deal, that understanding this summer, because this summer is a critical time period that we finally are going to be able to get back together with family. Take some time this summer to start capturing the stories and building those bridges with your elders, because that is part of the generational wealth real deal exercises that we're going to have in those classes coming up in the fall. Here was the second thing though. So here's the tie-in. I think it was last Saturday that the Naval Academy was addressed by the Vice President, Vice President Harris, okay, as far as the commencement address. And there was a ceremony that they kept mentioning that I hope everybody picked up, but it certainly was impactful for me on this tie-in. And that is the ceremony of the bands of gold ceremony. What happens is the class 50 years prior to the graduating class, a portion of them turn in their rings, their class rings, have them melted down, along with some badges and some other things, have those gold rings melted down to reform the rings for the class of that particular year. So the class of 71, 9 to 10 of those individuals turned in their rings, had those melted down in order to create the class rings for the class of 2021. Why? Because the legacy issues, the experiences they are passing on in a linked formation, in a linked, connecting the dots, connecting the links to pass on to the next generation so that their legacy continues to move forward and is connected with the current generation, so that 50 years from now, so 50 years ago, okay, we had 71, then we had 21 to 71 to 21. 50 years from that, okay, those rings will have carried 4, 3, 4, 5 generations all the way through. So I want to know why, when we look at the 100th year of the Tulsa Race Massacre, which was focused on through the Dreamland documentary that was done on CNN Sunday, what was it, Monday evening?
Monday evening, and then there was also one on the History Channel as well. So there were two this past week, yes.
Okay, but the one that has been, talked about most is the one that was on CNN, but also on the History Channel. Why such resistance to carrying the story forward from that event? Because bringing back that information and tying it to the links that were broken and reforming those links is going to be, and will continue to be, one of the exercises and missions that we should continue to have from this point forward, for bringing back those types of stories, connecting those to the current generation, reforming, reconstructing, reviving those stories so that we can start to fill in the gaps in the links in the chain within the African American and Latino communities across this country, but particularly, with the African American communities in our quest to rebuild and reform generational wealth. So that was the first story, but there was a second story in that story that's really paramount to Syracuse. They mentioned that the massacre took place, which was 100 years ago. The community tried to rebuild. In fact, was successful in rebuilding. And what happened? Through urban renewal, a highway was built right down the middle, separating the community again, breaking apart again the wealth that was being created. We are living this in Syracuse, where that highway that we all love so much, 81, coming right through the middle of downtown, is finally coming down, and the community grid is scheduled to reform and rebuild the community and the communities that surrounded it, and bring back a regenerative economic effort for the 15th Ward. George, it's going to be dusty and dirty and a mess for that to happen. But I don't want anybody to lose focus on the importance of that effort. And when the conversations start, which there will be, I'm sure, many additional community conversations around how things should be reconstructed, rebuilt, you must participate. We cannot sit back at home and say, y'all need to do. No, you need to do. You need to be involved, because this is the economic legacy that will be the link in the chain for the next 50 years, for your children, for your grandchildren, and your children's children, going forward in the community of Syracuse. All right. What's my question, George?
It was a quick question about careers and why it's important to get brown and black and brown folks in this business.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm really glad, for that question. You said something that was very, very important a couple of weeks ago. You said, Vicki, it sounds like not only is there a technical aspect, but there's also a behavioral, emotional aspect to your career. That is absolutely, and I said, that is absolutely true, because the technical issues can be trained very, very easily, but connecting with people and making them feel safe in a trusted environment is the more difficult aspect. Here's why having individuals of all diversity, but particularly Black and Brown advisors in a community is so important. It's a matter of building a bond of trust and a common understanding of some of the challenges, not all of them, but some of the challenges that are associated with building wealth within different types of cultures. Having an appreciation for, having a commonality, okay, for, having an understanding of those types of challenges and norms and customs, and not feeling as though you are in a position of being judged when those norms and customs happen not to fit exactly who you are, okay, when you go in to have a conversation with your advisor. Diverse communities, diverse environments have been shown to build a higher level of trust. So we have to have diverse advisors, need to have Black and Brown advisors within communities in order to make sure that there is a level of trust within the community, so everyone feels not only that they're welcome, but they can now come in, bare their soul, as somebody told me that's what they have to do with me, bare their soul and move forward as far as conquering the issues around generational wealth or around your just individual finances. That is one of the reasons, and in fact, one of the primary reasons it's so important that we have more advisors of color in this profession. Doesn't mean that, and you know this, George, you've worked with me for a long time. My entire client base is not just Black and Brown. I have a very diverse client base. And I think it really speaks to the fact that because of our emphasis on diversity and inclusion, that we've been able to build a business in that way. So thank you very much for the question.
You're welcome.
All right, so here we go. Next week's topic, the magic and the money of Social Security.
Okay.
If you've got questions concerning your Social Security, this would be a good time to reach out to send us those questions at info@brackensfsn.com, because there is real magic in that money if you do it the right way. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, if you have additional questions, as I said before, info@brackensfsn.com or area code 315-930-4499. Of course, like us and share on Facebook, and be sure and subscribe to us at Brackens Financial Solutions Network and our YouTube channel. We've got now close to 150 episodes.
Wow.
There in the archive and getting ready. Okay, if we go one more year, that'll be 200, the magic 200, George.
Wow.
So anyway, at this point in time, I'll say our plate is full.
All right, Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC, America's Money Maven.